Anyway, I have this piece by Alex Smith, and it's a column. It's in the Daily Caller. He's the national chairman of College Republicans. And as such, he is in the millennial generation. Tizen is the name of the Samsung operating system, snurdily. Because Samsung doesn't like being a prisoner to Google. Here's another thing. One more thing. If you buy a Samsung Galaxy phone at AT&T, they're going to put their layer on top of Google with their special apps. And to even get to the Google operating system, you've got to drill down. If you buy a Galaxy S4 from Verizon, they're going to put their specific apps on. Apple doesn't permit that. You buy an iPhone, and no matter where you buy it, it's identical to an iPhone bought anywhere else. That's open versus closed. Alex Smith. Here's a pull quote. And he's a millennial, and he's discussing millennials and what they think. I do not believe, he writes, that the president and the Democrats want to see my generation fail, but I do believe they've taken advantage of us. They used us to fund a costly health care plan by demanding higher premiums of us and by monopolizing the student loan industry. They mortgaged away our future to spend more now while adding to our share of the national debt. They also have failed to address broken entitlement programs like Social Security and Medicare, which are kept afloat by contributions from younger generations but will be insolvent by the time we reach retirement age. That's a pull quote. The title of Alex Smith's piece is Democrats Have Taken Advantage of Millennials. Alex is female. Okay, sorry. HR just told me Alex is female. Thank you for that. Did I say he? Okay. Well, not that I'm disagreeing, but how do you know that Alex is female? Do you know her? Oh, okay. There was a... So here I am. I'm talking about Alex Smith. And I might have said he. So Keith from the website staff apparently ran down the hall to HR. Alex is a female. Tell Rush Alex is a female. Anyway, I'm happy to be corrected. Don't want to be wrong. Forgive me for the correct assumption. Incorrect assumption. So it must be Alexandra. Alexis. One of my all-time top 10 favorite female names, by the way. Okay, here's what she writes. This is the opening to be. Today, 1 in 3 of my fellow millennials will wake up in their parents' home. Some of them have a job, but the vast majority are either unemployed or have dropped out of the labor force altogether. Most graduated from high school and spent some time in college. A few even have advanced degrees, but of those who took out student loans, they owe an average of $26,000. That is where the lost generation, as some have dubbed us, stands in 2013. In the past 2 presidential elections, my generation delivered victories for Democrats in the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. With hopeful and stirring rhetoric, they promised us a brighter tomorrow. See? That's a brighter tomorrow. Indeed, President Obama, whose own story embodies the American dream. No, it doesn't, Alex. Sorry. But I digress. Indeed, President Obama, whose own story embodies the American dream, told graduates at the University of Michigan in 2010 that the ability to shape our own destiny is what sets us apart as Americans. Casting nearly 5 million more votes for President Obama over Governor Romney this past election, my generation undoubtedly delivered for Democrats. Have they delivered for us? According to the latest Pew Research report, the number of millennials living at home with their parents soared to 21.6 million. That's up from 18.5 million in 2007. Last month, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau announced student loan debt surpassed the $1 trillion mark. With the impending implementation of the president's health care plan, the number of part-time jobs has exploded at the expense of the growth of full-time jobs, and the young and healthy can expect to see our premiums rise. The newest jobs report shows that youth unemployment remains nearly double the national average, and a recent Gallup survey found that only 43.5% of 18 to 29-year-olds are employed full-time. As a result, millennials are deferring major life decisions like marriage and home ownership at record rates. Now, rather than answering my earlier question with a resounding no, let me offer an alternative. I don't think the president and the Democrats want to see my generation fail, but I do believe they've taken advantage of us. They used us to fund a costly health care plan by demanding higher premiums of young adults and by monopolizing a student loan industry. They mortgaged away our future to spend more now while adding to our share of the national debt. They also have failed to address broken entitlement programs like Social Security and Medicare, which are kept afloat by contributions from younger generations but will be insolvent by the time we reach retirement age. But the president and the Democrats have not failed us because they're Democrats. Rather, their policies haven't worked for our generation because their ideas are old. They rely on top-down, artificial policies from the industrial past, rather than adapting the needs of a modern society with organic bottom-up solutions. Calm down, Snerdley. Snerdley, I don't know how old Alex is, but she's in her 20s. And you have to make some allowances. Snerdley is about to have a fit here when he heard me read, but the president and Democrats have not failed us because they're Democrats. Yes, they have, Alex. And you just, in the paragraph above, listed why. It is Democrats who have failed you. Democrats stand for something. Democrat policies are something. They are specific, and they are exactly what you described in the previous paragraph. It's the Democrats who have failed you. But I don't think the word has failed you. I think they've screwed you. I don't think failed you. I think they've lied to you. I think they've misrepresented themselves to you. I think they've given you false hope. They've made phony promises. They've clearly taken advantage of your desire for a brighter future, a happier tomorrow. They've clearly made you think they are the ones that can provide that when, Alex, you're the only one who can. You're the only one that can give yourself a better tomorrow. Washington is not interested in you having a brighter future. They say they are. They're interested in you maintaining their power. But I digress. Let me get to the last paragraph. The success stories from our generation have unquestionably followed the latter, meaning organic bottom-up solutions. Success stories are bottom-up solutions. Whether it's the grassroots efforts that have built massive social networks or by technological improvements that have allowed us to customize our lives like no other time in history, these sorts of innovations define our generation. While one-size-fits-all government has outlived its usefulness for the generation that is as diverse as the playlists on our iPods, true hope and change will come in the form of leaders and policies that embolden individuals to unleash natural growth. That's not Democrats, Alex. The Democrats are not about unleashing anything individualistic. They're about suppressing that. I have to take a brief time out. There is so much to say here, but I don't stand to gain anything by saying it. Not a thing. I'm only going to get hated even more. And I'm going to have to really think about replying to this. Otherwise, all I'm going to do is antagonize Alex. And that is the last thing I want to do. Believe me, I want to do the exact opposite. But just one thing. She describes the effort the grassroots effort that have built massive social networks as grassroots bottom-up efforts, as though that's new. Facebook, Zuckerberg, Harvard, the nerd kid gets in an argument, a Winklevi, whatever happens there happens. Facebook is born, and he's the student, drops out. And to Alex, that's an example of the bottom-up rather than top-down, which means Washington. Now, all she's describing there, I think this is fairly important. What she's describing is entrepreneurism. Yet I get the impression, and I could be wrong, I get the impression that she thinks it's unique. Most everything of substantial, innovative content comes from the bottom up. That's what entrepreneurism is. But if you stop and think, she's probably in the neighborhood of 24. Most of her adult life, you think she's heard much about entrepreneurism? If she has, she's heard it impugned and maligned and ridiculed. And yet, when she sees it, she recognizes it as great and filled with value. And she thinks it's new. I think Zuckerberg did something that nobody else has done. That fascinates me. As I say, folks, I'm going to think about the millennials piece before reacting or responding in greater detail. It's all fascinating to me. Somebody 24, what have they been taught? What's their educational perspective? What have they been taught about America? What have they been taught about entrepreneurism? What have they been taught about Democrat? The Democrat Party clearly has shafted them. Now, maybe she just doesn't want to write that. Anyway, I'll do a little bit more with this after I have spent some serious time with it.